Welcome back, everyone, to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan here for today. I mean, what can I say? We're starting up the weekend strong because she's back. The incredible, the amazing, the badass, the superstar, the legendary, and the superhero as well. Ashlee, how are you today?
Hey, I'm good. You give me way too much credit, man. I'm gonna not even be able to walk out my door. After this, my head's gonna be so big.
Sounds. I mean, what better way to have an incredible weekend and
Oh,
an
I
epic
know,
start
right?
than to be chatting with someone as badass as you? You know what I mean?
Hey, I could say the same for you, Dan. Get out of here, man. Yeah.
Sounds good to me. Now, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow, helps a lot. But also, on the description below, you're gonna find all of Ashlee's social media. By this point, you should know why she's super badass. But I'm super sure that by checking on this episode, you're gonna be like, I totally get it. Now, without further more, let's jump in. So, on our previous episode, we talk about, about your career in general, all of that. We discover why you were super badass. But today, since Christmas is coming, New Year, all of that, I have a couple of questions regarding what are you gonna plan for 2025 right now. I want to start this whole conversation by throwing out the first question, which is, this past year has been an incredible roller coaster for everyone, basically. So how was 2024 shape you both personally and professionally?
Ooh, 2024 was awesome for me. It was one of those years where we're still in it and it's still going great. But no, I think professionally, I had hit all my goals for 2024 that I'd set forth. I ended up landing an agent down in Atlanta, and within a month, I had gotten my first huge commercial worldwide release gig where I was like, this is awesome. I'm putting down my roots down there. It's a really cool time. And no, so yeah, with the career thing, acting wise, everything's kind of just falling into place. And I think 2024 for me has been a really big year of manifesting, and not even just manifesting, but laying down the foundations for what I want and not making it such a rat race. 2024 really taught me to kind of go at my own pace and to trust myself. And so even personally, I've seen that in, how I interact with people in spaces that I go to. I just feel comfortable anymore in my own skin and within myself. And I feel comfortable enough to kind of put myself out there and be a little bit more vulnerable, And so I think 2024 has shaped me a lot with opening up that cocoon, and kind of pushing me into those uncomfortable situations, and has allowed me to grow a lot, man. It's been a whirlwind, but it's been amazing, to say the least.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I think it's part of the whole. I mean, I think, but what I'm trying to say here is that that it's just awesome how when you are kind of on the right path, things slowly try to, kind of make sense somehow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they do, because it's I think we had discussed before, the doors that aren't for you have shut, and now you've got doors opening in front of you that are hey, that's it, go that way, go try that out. And it's just been working out. I've been very blessed, and I've met so many incredible people this year where it reminds you how awesome it is to be in this industry and to be able to connect with so many amazing people just on a consistent basis and work with so many talented people, get to talk to you, you're super talented. There's just, yeah, it's been a great year, man.
Thank you. I like it.
Yeah.
And can you share a moment from this year that truly tested you, and how did you find your way through it?
Oh, okay. Well, one, I think I just told you before we actually started going live. I recently got laid off from my 9 to 5, and it was one of those things where I'd always kind of thought at some point I would have to leave my 9 to 5 to pursue acting, because when you have that drive and that thing in you that's just burning, you have to do it. You have to follow it. It's you can't explain it. You just know that you have to go and do that. And I had that feeling while working at my 9 to 5. And recently just they laid off a couple of people, and my name happened to be in the hat. And I was really down about it for a while, for a week and a half. I let it hit me. I let all of those emotions just flow through, you got to get through it. And so I let myself be depressed for the week. And then I kind of picked myself back up and thought, you know what? No, like this is a gift, actually. Like if you flip it and look at that silver lining, this was a gift because now I was able to work on a couple of short film projects that were incredible and have so much quality and just like intention in the film. And I had those opportunities. I had opportunities to go to Atlanta. And so it kind of just opened the door for so many amazing things to enter my life. And I don't think if I hadn't been let go, I don't think that I would have pursued the way that I should be pursuing it, Wouldn't have
Mm.
had that freedom. Yeah. So I think that was probably one of the biggest struggles I've had to deal with because you're not in control at that point. Like we love being in control. And when I lost my job, I didn't feel in control. I felt very free falling, and what was crazy about that though, it was like the very next week, I think that I'd gotten laid off, auditions started rolling in. And then people started doing direct offers to me. And it was like nonstop for the next week and a half. And it was one of those things where I was like, holy crap, you know what? Like that was probably supposed to happen. Like maybe I would have overstayed my welcome at my 9 to 5, So it ended up being something really hard and very fulfilling. Like
Mm.
I'm thankful that that happened to me actually because I know that there are bigger things out there for me and maybe that wasn't meant for me, but what's for me will find me. So
Mm.
yeah, it was an interesting thing to overcome, but here we are. We're doing it, so
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it
yeah.
happens. You know, as I was saying, I remember when that kind of the same thing happened to me. The only thing I could say was motherfuckers. You know? And but the interesting thing is that once you I mean, I know that it's easier said than done, but I remember that now that I'm thinking of it, it just like on my case, when that happened, I was just instantly trying to be like, okay, so I got two options basically. Either one, I will feel miserable and for a while, or two, I can perhaps work on or something else on, in the meantime, on something better will come eventually. I think that is like the most important thing that, as I was saying, it's easier said than done to be optimistic, to be like, yeah, but you know what, something better will come. And of course, it's scary and it sucks, especially in in this economy and day and age that basically everything is just crazy expensive and all of that. But on your case, I'm happy that you were able to kind of yeah, let those grief feelings coming, let yourself feeling like a little bit down here and there. It happens, but then get back up and start working hard again, which I find that amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I think too what helped with that was like years of therapy prior where it was
Yeah.
like, hey, therapist is telling you you have to feel those feelings, feel them, and you can get through it a lot quicker. And that stuck with me. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let this ride and feel it hard and then keep going forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, totally, totally. There was a time in which I was saying, next time I see that manager who fired me, I'm gonna throw my shoe at his head. But then time passed, and then I was like, no, you know what? Next time I see him, I would just look the other way and be like, yeah, whatever. It
Yeah.
was, it's life. It can happen to him, can happen to me, can happen to all of us. And also, it's part of life. That sometimes you will getting laid off of a job is just the way it is, and but yeah, but
That's
it's great
why
that you
mental
were.
health is so important though, right? Like that's why it's super important to be focused on your mental health and not put so much weight, I think, on your job. Like a lot of people put all that weight on their job sometimes, which is great. It's like, hey, you go pursue that with everything you've got, but I wouldn't make it your only thing. I wouldn't make
Mhm.
that everything in life because jobs come and go like anything else, right?
Totally,
So,
totally. And especially if it is not something you want, you know what I mean?
yeah.
I mean, I remember that I met a guy once that in my previous job that he was saying that this is it, that he found the place you want to be. And I was like,
Mhm.
well, good for you. You find your dream. Happy to. Um, later on he got fired, but that's another story. But but my point here is that everyone has different goals, different all of that, and I think that whenever you have another goal, it's true, you need to pay bills, but if you find something to kind of to kind of back that up, so you can focus on your free time on what really makes you happy. I think that's the key to it. And most of us will do that. I remember back when I got fired, I was like, no, this is it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it with this right now. Sky is the limit. Working hard, 24, not stopping. And then later on, I started to discover like, yeah, you know what, this is gonna take time. So
Oh,
it's better if I just sit back, enjoy the ride, find something else in which I can have an income. In the meantime, I will be working on this, and this is kind of the right path to it. It's all of everyone passes through this ride, so let's just enjoy it.
yeah, exactly, man. And I think it can get scary, like you were saying, with when you're in that unknown spot, you're not in control. And that's a scary place to be because you're like, oh, okay, I feel like I'm free falling. I know this isn't good because society tells me this isn't good. I've seen it not be good. And so there's all this weight and pressure kind of like that just hits you all at once. And then
Hmm,
plus a little anger, you're pissed off. Like this company you worked for, you gave to, they let you go. It's like, what the fuck, man? Like I was doing a good job. But it like you were saying, it's life. It happens. And that's why it's so important too to have the right mental attitude towards things and just be able to identify those little blessings, those little moments of gratefulness in there, because those are the nuggets of that are going to carry you through
totally,
and get where you need to be. Yeah.
totally, yeah, and they can totally help you to get back up quickly. To really
Yeah.
push you again to be like, you know what, sure, wasn't personal, I get it, happened, you know.
Mhm.
Um, I better just keep moving forward and keep working hard because I think that's the way it is. I think sometimes we just waste too much time in nothing, basically. Meaning that we waste too much time feeling miserable or feeling sad or feeling unmotivated. Things like that, which
Right.
sometimes is understandable. But as I said here, I mean, you have to be able to understand that that whatever that when you're having those feelings, sure, give yourself the time to feel like that, but have in mind that you need to get back up because basically time doesn't stop, and you have the
Yeah.
and I think you every time we have the opportunity to either we move with time or we just stop and we let time move, which is worse
Exactly.
because once you realize you wasted too much time and it's just it's bad basically.
Yeah, it's like, you got to fight through it and go do what you're meant to do. Just keep going. No matter what, keep going and you'll get where you need to be for sure.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. All right. All right. And was there, a particular role or project in 2024 that left a lasting impact on you?
Yeah, I would say that I actually just recently did a project with a good group of friends of mine. They do really good quality work in terms of like short films, that kind of thing. They are
Oh
just a
yeah.
killer group out here in Ohio, and they do an awesome job with having this team camaraderie and just knowing how to work with one another. And the film is called The Squalor, and I actually got to play a cop in it. And this role, it stuck with me because I learned a lot during this role, like trying to become this cop. This it's basically a story about a young cop gets bullied all the time because she got the shakes on a previous job. And the shakes meaning she had to draw her gun and she couldn't shoot the perp because she just started shaking and another officer got hurt. And so now she's like kind of the town joke as a cop. And she has to help this little girl find her dad. And so the whole story is pretty much this cop who gets bullied finds her courage and finds her strength. And you see this young girl kind of have a mentor and an older sister that she didn't have before. And so it's a really cool, fun little story that I got to do. But one thing that impacted me a lot with that is just how to play that role. I'm somebody that's very expressive and very, my inflection, my voice is has a lot of inflection to it, and I talk a lot with my hands. And so in acting, I'm able to control that a lot. But normally I'm given roles where they're like, hey, use that quirkiness, use it, go put it out there. Well, with this role, There was no quirkiness. I had to basically just be very grounded and to the point where I didn't even know that I was being like a little quirky at times. And the director, Joe, my friend, would come up and he'd say, Ashley, no, like you got to tone it down even more. And I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm boring at this point. Like I don't feel like I'm doing anything. And he's like, no, you're fine. It looks great. Trust me. Like it's fine. And so I think from that, that was probably like a huge impact on me because it I had to challenge myself. I mean, now I am getting quite a few roles, but they're all in my type range most of the time. And so it's been things that I've played. It's pretty much me with a little razzle dazzle in it. And with this, I had to be deadpan, no quirks, like just it was different and I learned a lot from it. I'll say that.
Cool, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
And how does it feel? Like yeah, like how were the feelings when you were a cop? Because back when I was a kid, my dream was to be a cop.
really.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, honestly, dude, it was so fun. I really loved like they had so there's a town in Ohio called Middletown and they gave me a Middletown police uniform that was like one of their old uniforms. They got me like a legit like vest and stuff. You could see it on my Instagram. I've got
Mm-hmm.
photos
Mm-hmm.
in there. But they let me shoot a real gun in the film. And so we had to like practice on the range, like shooting range with guns prior to the shoot and on set, we had our fire and safety arms specialist, but it was just like such a cool experience because I hadn't gotten to do that before. Got to shoot a real gun on camera and had to act while I was doing it, which was a freaking challenge because in my head, I'm thinking, okay, Ashley, you're a cop. You have to know how to handle the gun. You have to know how the recoil reacts. Like you have shot guns your entire life at this point, and that's your job. And so, whenever I had to do that scene where I have to shoot and pull the trigger, I just had so many things in the back of my head of okay, Ashley, you're scared. You're terrified of this thing. Don't forget, like, how to handle the gun. Don't forget to, dot your I's and cross your T's. So it was a blast. Man, having that, like, you just feel a confidence and you feel like in charge when you're in that uniform too. It was really different. And what was funny is, I was driving to set one day, and I'm not all the time the biggest fan of cops all the time. And so right? And so I was driving by and I saw one and I was like, oh, cops, whatever. And I looked down and I had my uniform on for the film and I was like, oh yeah, I'm playing a cop. I can't think like that. Like, get that out of here. So it was a fun learning experience and it was really a good time playing a
Yeah,
cop.
that's so amazing. Yeah, I remember when I was showing your stories, the post, and I was like, man, that's so cool. You
Thank
know,
you. It was
that's so
fun,
cool.
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a blast.
I like it. I like it. Plus you did another short film, right?
Yeah,
Called Best Wishes and Good Luck. I was watching it this morning, actually.
oh, really? What'd you think about
Yeah,
it?
I liked it. It was cool. It was kind of a cool pace. Because I usually like TV shows, movies that have like bunch of action here and there. You know what I mean? But every
Yeah.
now and then, whenever I can watch like a low tone, kind of a more relaxed to it, I'm like, sure. I enjoy those every once in a while. So yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. That was a fun one to do too. That was a little hard. Only because it was so emotional and it had to do
Mm-hmm.
with, drug usage and obviously a lot of family trauma and that kind of stuff. And so that was a really cool project to be a part of. Got a lot of that, I think, in my family too. And so it was easy to relate a little bit to my character's situation. Maybe not dating siblings, but you know, the other stuff, yeah,
I
definitely
mean,
went.
at this point, I was saying to my parents the other day, at this point, well, with the world the way it is right now, nothing kind of amazes me. I'm like, eh.
Yeah, you're just like, doesn't surprise me. These things
Things
happen.
happen. Crazy world we're living in. Better
I
we
feel like
better,
that's me too. I'm just kind of like, well, yeah, I should have suspected that.
you know. Then you're
Yeah,
like, nah, I see it coming. But yeah, in general, yeah, I liked it. Yeah, it was as I was saying, it was kind of those, it was kind of those short films in which I'm like. I wished, and I've been talking this in the previous episodes, that I would
Mhm.
appreciate more if they would give us the opportunity to watch more of those somehow. For example, on a plane or in the bus, or having the chance to actually, or I don't know, like a big platform, big streaming platform like Netflix, HBO, I mean, you name it. If they would give the chance to kind of incorporate short films to their
Yeah.
platforms, give the opportunity to more people to show their projects, new actors that are basically working every day to to putting their to pull it to putting themselves out there, and having the chance to watch their projects. I wouldn't mind if they would say, what, we're going to charge you like a little bit more, but you're going to have the chance to watch this huge amount of short films, indie stuff,
Yeah.
that normally we don't get to see every day. So,
Dude, no, absolutely. Because, like, right now, YouTube is the only place I know that has frequent short films or
mm-hmm,
Vimeo or wherever. But, like, I think that's such a good idea, especially on planes. Like, if somebody's got like a shorter flight or something, pop on a short film, you know? And I feel like with those, when I first started acting, I really wasn't like wanting to jump into short films because I didn't understand them and I'd never really watched them before. And now that I'm acting and I'm in a lot of short films, I finally get it. I'm like, oh, okay, these are entertaining because you get so much thrown at you in such a short amount of time that for today's day and age and like even brain span, it's like attention span, it's great. It's like, yes,
totally,
give me that short film. But
totally.
also, I think too, like you can get the short films into festivals and get seen and you can network. And so I think it's a really great way to get attention around your projects, around your craft and that kind of stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, back when I started, before starting with Chat with Den, I mean, I'll
Mhm.
be honest, I never watched like short films or indie stuff. I was like just mainly on what the media was bringing on, like the A-list stuff and things like that. But then when I
Yep.
started with this platform, I was like, you know what? I think it's better if I just start to watch this type of stuff, for the, you know. So I started watching like a few of them, and I was like, you know what? This is really cool. Of course, that every now and then I will be come up with something in which I was like, what the, I'm watching. But the
Yeah,
same
you're
thing,
watching,
but
you're like, I can totally tell this is indie budget. Like, yeah,
but it happens the same way around when like an A-list project comes, and then you're like, well, what the fuck am I watching? The same thing. It's the same thing basically, but
yeah, you're like, I
aside,
know Johnny down the road could make a better film than that. Like, what the heck
totally,
is
totally,
that?
and then as the more I started to develop with this platform, and the more short films and these stuff I was started to watching, I was like, you know what, it would be cool that we can get the chance, to more people to watch it out there. I mean, I was checking that for some films their budget is like 400 millions, 500, and I was like, you could use like one tiny percent of that to invest it into indie stuff, short film projects, and you will be creating like a lot of stuff, like a hell of a lot, like a lot of stuff here. And as I was saying, you give the opportunity for new actors, or well,
Yeah,
not specifically new actors, but for new content. You get the chance to people to discover like a lot of more actors. A lot of more people
fresh faces.
who is working on it,
Hmm.
and who is putting who is showing what they're about. And I mean, I hope that at some point we could get the chance to see that, because I think that that's a huge loop. Yeah, that's a huge hole that big streaming platforms might not watching. Might haven't seen realized yet that they're missing a chance here to promote that type of stuff. And.
Oh, definitely. Because there are so many like really, really good short films. I saw one that it left like a lasting impact on me, and it was with Will Ferrell. And for the life of me, I can't remember my name. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a cute little short film, and it was so funny. And he was a therapist, and like he has to help this guy kind of with his emotional turmoil when he goes to his son's soccer game for the first time or wrestling match, and it was the first wrestling match that he was going to be able to make, and this guy calls him in, needs an emergency, so he has to go help this guy. And it's so funny. When I think of the name, I'll send you the link to it because it is a really good short film. It was one of
Totally.
those where I'm like, this is why we make short films, because it's I got to watch this in 12 minutes and it left that lasting of an impression on me where I want to make films now that are like that, with the same context and stuff. Like it was just so cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it gives you the time to. to watch something, especially if you have like a
Yeah.
busy schedule. I think you get the chance to perhaps watch like a one or two on the fly, basically.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would appreciate if, yeah, as I was saying, if we could see more of that because some of them are really cool
Yeah.
and ours, some of them are really well made, and every now and then I'll be forcing either my family or my friends to watch them, you know.
Yeah.
But
Guys,
as I
sit
was,
down. We're gonna watch some
you
short
know,
films.
but as I was saying, would be great if Netflix or HBO or Prime or whatever get the chance to put those in their menu, let's say. And I think it would get more people around and more people um to be discovering new content, which that is one of the things that I'm constantly begging new stuff, for example, this
Yeah.
coworker last week was recommending me this TV show, right, called Arcane. It's on Netflix.
Oh yeah, I've seen Arcane.
And I was like, "Psh, animated?" And he was like, "Dude, I mean, if you watch this, that's the animated stuff." And I was like, I don't know, because I was like,
Yeah.
I don't usually watch animated stuff. I was like not very convinced, but I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I mean, you are hyping that TV show too much, so let's see, right?
Yep.
Man, that was like the best thing ever. I mean, I was like, you know what? No, this is the best animated show of all time. This is great, and I was like, this is exactly the type of stuff that I want. New content.
Yes.
And 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 it doesn't matter if it is animated or short or long or whatever. If you have like a really cool story, a very good story,
Hmm.
you have that's the way it is. Because sometimes I think that we're somehow getting stuck with too much of a kind of remake stuff or things like that. So whenever something new comes on, I'm like, let's see what they got. So
Exactly. I've been, that's another challenge for myself. I want to challenge myself to keep watching new shows and movies because, like you, it took me a minute to watch Arcane. And then once I saw it, I couldn't stop. I was like, holy shit, this is a blast. And like just the detail that they went into and the different art styles that they incorporate into this one show is just beautiful. It was so beautifully done. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Like I wish that more people would even with the craft of short films, stop making it all about pushing out content so quickly. Why not take your
mhm.
time with it and make something of quality and put that out? And I even with Hollywood reusing the same films and things like that and just doing remakes. It's the same thing with actors. I mean, it's like they just reuse talent nonstop, and it's it's really frustrating. I feel like to a lot of actors because you have to fight tooth and nail to get seen by these people that could bring you on to big projects, but they just keep reusing the same
The
A-list
same
actor.
actors. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
the
it,
thing.
yeah.
That's the thing that also kind of that I'm like, dude, there's so many people out there. A friend of mine was the other day. We were talking like about this, and I was like, dude, I mean, I have met like so many actors out there, and I get it that sometimes they will use A-listers to kind of promote it, so then people
Mhm.
could be like, oh, this is gonna be great. But sure, you can use an A-list, but at the same time, you can use some other actors to put them on the films, so they can be. I mean, they are same. They are capable, the same as the A-listers. They exactly, they're the same, right? So why not giving them the chance to it
Yeah.
and people to discover them, to actually discover their craft. How much all the effort they put to it and yeah, like all the love to it, which I do think that is the most incredible part about acting in general. That besides creating cool stuff and everything, yeah, sure. But when the actor gets the chance to really commit with their character, to the story basically, and
Uh,
how it's gonna be presented to us, and when we get the chance to care about it, when you have like those emotions, for example, on the show Arcane, that even though that it was animated, I was having emotions for some of the characters, and I was like, dude, please don't kill this,
oh my
like
God, I caught myself crying so much. Like I was
this.
bawling my eyes out
The
like
same thing
multiple.
happened to me, the same thing happened, especially on season two. Um, And I was like, I can't believe, I can't believe that that's happening. Or, for example, in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, that I was actually crying for a CGI raccoon. And I was like, like my brain can understand. When you think about it, you're like, this is making it, this is not making any sense. But like the emotions to it, like how much they are putting, um, the all of yeah like all of that effort to the story so that you can care about and that connection you have and somehow parts of yourself you are relating to what the character is living at the point on the thing that you're watching.
Hmm.
I think that's beautiful, and I do think that sometimes we just take things for granted. Like in general, like with films and all of that, that sometimes we just watch something because it's entertaining, but when we get the chance to kind of put our like our emotions to it, and actually kind of feel vulnerable at the same time because we are kind of facing something that the characters, you know what I mean? It's something, yeah, it's just amazing, and it blows my mind every now and then, like either a TV show, film, or a play gets me very emotional. I'm like,
Hmm.
this is what I want. This is beautiful. And
Yes.
I would appreciate the same too. If superhero films, for example, I love them, but
Yeah,
give time. Make sure take all the time you need to create something cool. I don't mind if it's gonna take 4, 5, 6 years, but in the
exactly.
meantime, when you actually present it, make sure that it's great because I think that's one thing that over the past few years we had a lot of superhero films that none of them were kind of cool, a lot of films that perhaps were not kind of cool. So I was like, you know what, take all the time. I think it's better
Well,
if you do that.
no, you're absolutely right. Not to cut you off. I guess I was just thinking with like money too. Everything now revolves around cash. And it's just people are pumping out in larger amounts and quicker because money. It's talking, and that's where I think they're kind of failing us in a way
Hmm.
because like people, we crave stories. We crave connection. We crave as human beings, like that's from the beginning of time. It's been stories, connection, networking, like that is an innate thing I think within human beings where we love to connect to things that are like us, that are a little different than us, like all of that stuff. So yeah, I just don't think that they're doing justice to even storytelling if they're just doing it for the money and just pumping out all of these films and not really giving it their all, and plus like we were saying with the remakes and with the freaking actors being reused nonstop, it's like give people something different. Like Arcane, super different. It was a very different type of animated show, very different and even one thing I loved about Arcane, not to keep bringing it back, I just finished it, but like every episode with the soundtrack that it has
Oh,
blew me away.
well,
Every
yeah.
episode. It's crazy.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
so good.
the soundtrack was beautiful, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm using it when I go to the gym.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know.
I would too. I'd be in that headspace of like, I'm about to kick
Hmm.
some ass. Like I've got this playing.
Yeah,
I'm about to kick ass today.
yeah, that soundtrack was beautiful. Yeah, yeah, and yeah. I mean, when I watched it last week, and that's the thing. I started watching on a Friday, right? So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, cool. And then it took me one episode to be like, oh no, this is gonna be one of those weekends, huh? I didn't do anything on the weekend because I
Yeah.
was watching the whole show, and that's one of my problems. I think that whenever I love the show, I'm like, this is gonna be a binge watch moment
It
now.
is.
So,
Well, and
I'm
then
gonna throw
well, even when you get away from it and you go do something else, in your brain you're thinking, I have to sit down and watch that show. Like I cannot wait until I sit down and can watch the rest of my show. Like that's I'm like that with almost every series. So I have to really watch myself because I'm not I will waste all my time watching movies if I'm not
totally.
careful. So yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I was like, yeah, and then this coworker, right? Then I told him like, dude, the show was beautiful, and he was like, you should watch season two, and I'm like, "Pff, season two, I already finished it." And then he
You're
was
like,
like,
oh my
what? It was like, yeah, I did. It's yeah, it's done. And then yeah, he was just telling me like, and did you like it? And I was like, I freaking loved it. It was super cool. The animations were beautiful. The story
Yep.
was really great. The soundtrack was incredible. I mean, over the past few years, I've been focusing a little bit like more on the soundtrack of a film or TV show. If the
Yeah, me
soundtrack,
too.
if I loved it, I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, this is really cool. And then of course I will be, checking it out here and there. And as I said, that when I go to the gym, that's my soundtrack to go, and it's cool.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I mean, too, like soundtracks are really important for film, and I don't think you're probably at the point where I'm at because it just started happening like the last couple of years is when I have started noticing soundtracks more in movies or shows, and I can always now kind of get like a little little better of a judge of character. If the soundtrack is really good, the movie's probably going to be pretty good. Like in my mind, I'm like, if the soundtrack is banging, I know the movie's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be popping. It's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
If
And
it's
tell
not
me what were your thoughts on season two?
season two, I it was a roller coaster for one. The one thing I wish they would tell you, like straight up, whenever time lapses or how much time has lapsed, because I caught myself like, catching up and being like, oh, okay, so some time lapsed here since so and so was killed or since this happened, and that kind of threw me a couple times. But oh my God, just the emotional roller coaster was enough to like send me over the edge. I could go in with so many like spoilers to talk about, but I don't want to do that for anybody. But it's a very good show. And
Totally.
oh, dude, it really wrecked me though. The one scene where Powder's little like sidekick girl
Right? Yeah. Oh.
that killed me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
You know what? Screw it. Spoiler alert. Hit it.
right now, cover your ears.
Totally. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Over. I mean, like one of the things that I would have, one of the things that I would have loved is for me to have like a little sister.
Yeah,
I do have an older brother, but every now and but sometimes every time I have said that I would have loved if I could have like a little sister to it. And
yeah,
man, when that happened on that show, and then I'm gonna throw some spoilers ahead. So those who are watching or listen to it, you can maybe move. Yeah, if
yeah.
you can move.
Earmuffs.
Yeah, yeah, or you can um yeah, you can move the time like a little bit forward. You can forward a few minutes here. I but yeah, like that scene with it, with Isha was yeah, Isha was the name, and when she grabs the pistol and then she goes through that monster, and I'm like, no, just don't do that. No, just don't.
Yeah.
No,
Oh my
and
God. And
then
then the flashbacks with it, that is what took me out. You just saw how much she loved Jinx. Like she just loved her. That was her big sister, her mom in a way. Like she was just everything for her. And or like she looked up to her and like then that little finger shot at the end, that was it.
mm,
I was like,
yeah.
they did that just so they could shoot us in the freaking heart. That's all it was.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Yeah. Yeah, when nothing happened, it took me, like once the whole episode finished, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get emotional now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Yep.
immediately I called my friend after that, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. I was all stuffed up, crying. Like, it took me a solid hour to kind of come down to where I was like officially leveled out. You didn't seem
Mm-hmm.
like I'd been crying that much.
Yeah,
Took
but it's good that on episode 7, it kind of like it's at yeah, the next episode it tones different, so then you're
yeah.
like, okay, so now I mean, you get like a little bit of a break, you know.
Yeah, they
Um
don't let you sit in that for a long time. That's the thing.
mhm.
Like they really hit you with those super hard moments, but they don't let you sit in it. It's like, okay, we're gonna let you hit this at 1,000 miles an hour, and then we're gonna shift gears, and now you're gonna be preoccupied with something else. And I think
Totally.
that was a really cool thing they did too, because then you're not so caught up on that death immediately or whatever happened, you're more so just caught up in the fact that, oh, okay, this is the story's moving on. I better catch up
Mhm.
with them or it's going to pass me up. So it kind of
Totally.
forces you to switch gears there, which I liked because I did not want to hit another emotional roller coaster block that soon. So I was
Mm.
happy with that.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And that's the thing here because, for example, we have we had the show, right? It was incredible. People loved it. People are talking it all the time. It became one of the best animated shows of Netflix of all time. And
Yeah.
my point here is that I think that's kind of the lessons for. I think that will be kind of a lesson to other, big film companies and all of that. That you can that if you want my money, sure, it's understandable, but make sure that you're creating something worthy so then I can feel that I wasted my money on something good. And if it's great, I'm gonna be promoting it. Not, I'm not,
Mhm.
all of those who are watching it are gonna promoting it because of how cool it is. And
Yeah.
I think that is one thing and kind of touches with another point you were mentioning before, the fact that these companies are so focusing on the money, the money, the money, the money, the money. And I'm like, yeah,
Mhm.
sure, you want money, I will give it to you, but give me something that I love, or give me something good, and then you can bet that I'll be talking it nonstop to everyone out there, and you're gonna be receiving even more money because people are gonna be like, you know what, sure, this is great, but due to their due to this mentality, they will be releasing all type of stuff non-stopping. And I think due to that, sometimes we are overwhelmed, and then we just let things go because we just can't be on the same pace as them. And then I'm like, it would be better
Mhm.
just take your time, make something great, and then release it, and take all the time you need. But that's one thing that I would appreciate, that if these companies would kind of take into consideration, the fact that, okay, if we are delivering this service to people, because at the end it's a service, make we could it would be better if we just focus on creating good stuff instead, so then more people will be watching our stuff, which I think that's what they want,
Mhm.
and we will be receiving even more money.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Well, because like, okay, think about how much theater ticket sales are. Like how much it is to go buy a ticket to go watch a movie at the theater. It's a good chunk of change. And I've been there. I've been on the other side of the coin where it's like I go, I pay this money, and then I'm watching a shit movie, and I'm like, dang it! Like that's one of my favorite experiences in the world is going to a movie theater and just enjoying myself at a theater. And yeah, anymore, I find myself not going as much because I'm like, I don't want to be disappointed and waste my money, and this thing that I
mhm,
love. And it is because today I feel like people are just pumping out product without having any quality to back it. Or it's like, oh, we have this name talent that'll get us by just enough to where we'll make our money back. And, people will be satisfied. They won't love it, but they'll be satisfied. It'll be fine. And yeah, I feel like there needs to be a revamp for sure. Yeah, and something.
totally,
But who
totally.
am
And
I? Who am I, with
right,
yeah.
yeah, we're just two consumers, basically.
Exactly.
But at the same time, I do think that we do have a voice to it,
So,
and at the same time, I do think that we are on our right to to say what we want to watch. At the end, we are kind of paying them, for them to
right. Yeah.
providing us with a service
Right.
of content. So at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but I do have a right to say whenever I want to, I like something, or I don't, or I don't like something. Or at the end, what I ended up doing is just not consume that, to be like, what, that's not, for example, with the movie, the second part they released of the Joker. When I
Uh-huh.
watched the reviews, and then when I watched like a little bit of how the whole thing was, what, that's not my thing. And I didn't
Yeah.
watch it. And I was like, what, I'm not gonna watch it because it's not something that I want, and I'm not gonna be wasting my money on that. Perhaps some people liked it. That's fine. That's, everyone, I think that is one of the cool things also about entertainment. There is a
Mhm.
space for everyone,
Yeah.
and it's
Absolutely.
great.
Which is so
But
nice.
but at least to me, that's not my cup of tea. I'm not gonna watch it and problem solve. I'm gonna be focusing my money instead
Mhm.
on watch something that I really do appreciate. The last time I went to the movies was to see Deadpool and Wolverine, and I was like, dude,
Yeah.
this is a really cool superhero film. I would appreciate
Uh-huh.
if they can release more of that cool stuff, because when you go to the when you go to the theater, you watch a cool film, you
Mhm.
feel good, even though that that you spend some money, because going to the theater is kind of a little bit expensive now these days. But when you get the chance to really watch something cool, you don't you don't care about how much you spend. You know what I mean? You're like, this was a really
Oh,
cool experience, and I think they should be focusing more on the experience, instead of the revenue, basically.
yeah. No, you're 100% right. It's like, give us that experience. We want it. Give it to us.
Totally, totally.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Now, the industry, has faced many shit recently, right? With the strikes, and all of that. So,
Mhm.
how have you adapted to these changes, and what stood the most about this your landscape?
So I think for me, so I'm a non-union actor right now. So with the strike and the way the industry has changed hasn't affected me as much as it has affected a lot of my coworkers and people that are SAG-AFTRA and are with the union. So I think they have seen the most hits from the strike and all that stuff. But no, I'd say for me, things are going pretty normally. Nothing really slowed down to a detrimental effect whenever the strike happened for me, just because so many non-union sets were still running, commercials were non-union stuff was still running. And so, yeah, for me, I didn't take too big of a hit. One thing I have learned to overcome and adapt to is a lot of the self-taping, a lot of the virtual reality, networking through socials, like all of that stuff has become top of mind for me when doing anything in this industry. Because if you're not going to be able to meet somebody in person like this, we're doing a podcast online, we're networking, we're doing this, and so. I think a lot of these opportunities are what I'm focused on. Having more of a social presence online, just so that people can see this is what I do, this is what I'm about, these are things that I've already done, this is who I am, basically. And I try to put all that out online as much as possible because I want people to understand, like, hey, I am an actor and I do act in these things, but also this is me and I'm unapologetically myself. And I want to give people something real to hang on to, if anything, like whether they're keeping up with somebody on socials or really looking up to somebody at any point in time. If I am that to someone, I want to give them something to look up to and to do. And so I think just keeping that social presence active and the networking, self tapes, yeah, it's like a well-oiled machine now. I'm starting to get the hang of it, so it's not been too bad.
Hmm. Yeah,
I
I
know
like
it's
it.
right. It's been pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I mean, I already know out there that if someone can get things done and someone who can be a super badass 24/7, it's you. So I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely stressful too, though. So I'm kind of still working those mental health mantras of like, give myself grace because there's a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I get it, especially how the world is at this point and it's difficult, it's difficult to be motivated because we have social media now that can make you feel great or can make you feel miserable sometimes, when you either I think when you get this feeling of that you start to compare, and you're like, ugh, but
And you gotta shut that down.
you
You
need to
can't
shut that
compare
down,
it to
and
death. Yeah.
someone once told me that it's their life, it's their work. You don't know how much hours they put to it. So instead of feeling, instead of feeling like a little bit, yeah, have like this feeling of envy, be happy, celebrate, celebrate those who are achieving something good, because
Yeah.
at some point it's gonna happen to you too. But you need to put a lot, you need to keep working hard and on stopping. So then one day you're gonna be receiving those opportunities, those chances, and everything is gonna make sense. But until that point, you need to yeah, it's a lot of mental awareness and a lot of a lot of things that you need to work on yourself to be in this kind of mentality that doesn't affect you too much, so
Oh yeah. And again with that, it's like, water your own garden. Don't worry about the person next to you or two places next to you because while you're looking at theirs, your garden's dying. If you're not watering it, if you're not, feeding yourself, if you're not truly like focused on your path, you're going to get distracted and you're never going to achieve your goals, your dreams, different things that are in front of you because you're going to be so distracted with everybody else. You're never going to win the race.
hmm
Yeah,
hmm
I totally agree.
and tell me, looking back at your journey, how do you feel you'd evolved as an actor compared to when you started?
Oh, definitely would be confidence. I think now I have stepped into a confidence within myself that obviously I wouldn't have had, if whenever I started, because when I started, I was so nervous and so just kind of like over my head a little bit. I knew I'd always wanted to be an actor, but I really didn't know how to achieve it, how to get there. And so for the first year, I just started taking acting classes. And I was like, I'm going to figure this out. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to do it yet. Because what I thought what acting was, it wasn't apparently because I had done it in class and they were like, no, that's not really acting. So they were like, let's readjust. And yeah, once I got through the learning curve, I think that and also having so many wonderful people around me that constantly shoot the truth at me, but also do it with love and kindness. And they never put me down. It's always I have people around me that are always like, you can do anything you set your mind to, Ashlee. Like you're doing great. You can do this. And like just those attaboys, like and smacks on the back, that can take you a long way. And I've seen it definitely like help me blossom and step into myself as a new confident person that is very passionate and loving about the craft. And
Mm.
I think having a good circle of people around me has been what has been the biggest impact. And by that, I mean even like filmmakers I've worked with, because now at this point, like I've worked with filmmakers, from across like internationally. And the thing with that is everyone's different, but I figured out who's good, who really motivates me and works well with me, who doesn't necessarily get me as much and doesn't, we don't click. And I think picking those people and having those opportunities to work with them time and time again has just solidified and validated like, hey, you're doing great. Like keep going. Like it's limitless where you're going. Just
Mm.
keep on taking those strides. Yeah.
Okay. And what do you think the 12-year-old version of yourself will think about you right now?
She would think I was so cool. I'm not gonna lie. Like I can tell you, little Ashlee would have thought I was so cool because at 12, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to, create art. Like I wanted to do something like that. Like I used to set up cameras, which is so funny. Like I'd set up cameras and actually like interview myself when I was younger and like just have like little interviews with myself about what I was doing and what projects I was working on, like that kind of stuff. And yeah, I think she would be in shock, but she would think it was so cool because I've always wanted to do this. And I think she would also think it's brave and kind of shocked because she was so shy and, didn't want to be seen or was too afraid to be seen in that way.
Mm.
And now I'm not. Now I'm like, now I know the more I'm seen, the more connections I can make with people and the more relationships I can build. And that's like one of the best things in life, just meeting good people and staying connected with good people and doing this thing called life, going on this journey. So
Mm.
yeah, I think she'd
Yeah.
be pretty proud of me. I would
Mm.
hope so.
I bet she will be. She will be calling you badass nonstop for sure.
Probably. She'd also be like, "Man, we lost weight. That's great." Like, because she was a little chubby girl, so she definitely would have been like, "Man, you lost the weight. You did good." Yeah.
I like it. I like it. I mean,
Yeah.
back when we're 12, we just we're just having fun. We don't care about looks or things like that.
No.
I
I
mean,
mean, I also had an army jacket that I wore all the time when
that's
I
so
was like
cool.
10 and 12. And so now she's probably like, "Wait, do we still have the jacket though? Like, is the army jacket, do we still have that?" Like, no, we don't have
You don't have
that.
that anymore?
No. No.
Dang it.
I get it out every once in a while and just wear it around the house. It's fine.
Yeah, you know, I like it. I like it. I mean, it's important to, have I mean, I do think that it's important to every now and then have communication with our younger self, with our kid version, because we may grow up, sure, but that sometimes you can see that kid inside wants to get out every now and then, and it's just part of the whole thing.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's what's cool with acting is like that kid really never leaves because you constantly have to be willing to learn new things and be able to take criticism and be able to be coached, but you also have to be able to just not give a shit what people think and go and act like a monkey out in the street. Like, and an actor, if that's what the director tells you to do, it's like, I'm gonna be a monkey in the street today. Like, here I go. I've already said
Mm,
yes. And yeah, and you have to, it's like, okay, cool. Let that little kid go play and take your adult ego and just set it off to the side and go play. Have fun.
totally, totally. You know,
Yeah.
back when I was a kid, I always wanted to have a Lego, always, but I
Yeah.
couldn't because it was kind of a little expensive back
Mhm.
then, and then my parents were not doing so well, and but I would, but that was one of the wishes that I wanted. As time
Yeah.
passed, I grew older. I started to work. I bought myself a Lego, and then I still remember that feeling that I was like, this is, I was super excited about this. And even though, I'm 30, 31, if I see a Lego store, I'll be like, "Pfft, screw it." And then I would just go inside, see what the fuss is about, and then perhaps buy something or not, we'll see.
Yeah.
And I love it because when I'm like on the, when you're like kind of constructed, like putting all the pieces together, as I said
Mhm.
before, it's like my inner kid is out for a while. So I'm like, play, have fun.
Exactly.
My adult version will be out for a while, so the stage is yours basically, take it. And as I
Yeah.
said here,
It keeps young.
it's great to have like that communication with your kid version every now and then, because I think that is what can spark you to keep moving forward somehow. That innocence, that happiness, that night, being naive and all that excitement about life in general, and like and all of that. I think when we get the chance to be more connected to it, the more we get the chance to enjoy life. Because let's be honest, being an adult sucks. But
It does. Preach, brother.
you know,
Yeah.
but if you get the chance to kind of have this communication with your younger self somehow, and enjoy those little things in life, you start to appreciate it more. You start to be like more thankful the fact that you get the chance to be alive one more day, and things like that. So
Exactly. I think it keeps us young too. I feel like
mm.
you keep that childlike spirit alive, you'll be 80 and still running around like childlike wonder. Everything's. So that's my goal. My goal is to make it to be really old, and I still want to be young at heart. And I hope that I am. And Dan, if you know me by then, I want you to call me out on it. If I start acting like a crabby old lady, you got to call me out and say, "No, Ashley, remember the kid? She's in here."
Trust me, I'm gonna be keeping an eye on.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I appreciate
There you
it.
go. There you go. And tell me, how does your, yeah, like acting is such a personal craft. So how does your challenge or reaffirm your connection to the art in general?
I think it challenged me in a lot of ways with working with a lot of new crews and new production teams. With those, you have to be, it's so vulnerable to go into a team that is already put together, because a lot of times on these indie sets, crews and things like that, they kind of stick together. A lot of people work on the same projects together, and they tend to find who they like, and they stay together. But as actors, you're constantly working with new crew all the time. Like you're going different places, different projects. And so this year I worked with a few different crews that I'd never worked with before. And I think growing as in like my vulnerability and stuff, I've become more comfortable being vulnerable and okay with it. And it has introduced me to like new challenges where I've had to go into a set and say it's like a commercial or it's like a short film, whatever it is, and they'll have the camera, like the whole set's already ready to go. I just get there and these people are like, okay, sit down, you're ready to go. Okay, action. And then you're like, action, like what am I doing? Is there any direction here? Like there are times like that I've had this year where I'm like, what the hell do I do? And in those moments, all of that fear that I had kind of just dissipate. Like it just went away because I'm like, okay, you have to think fast. You have to be on it, be vulnerable, yet still thinking fast, and I still have to nail this. And you kind of I've caught myself going into this zone of like just in the zone. It's like as soon as they say action, something like flips and it's like, oh, okay. Now I have to do these 50,000 things and remember them and do them well and make it look like I didn't remember any of them. They just kind of spawned and happened. And so, yeah, I'd say this year, my biggest challenge would have been opening up and to new people and networking and being vulnerable and putting myself out there
Mm,
without judgment. And a lot of times what I'm still working on is my self-reflection after social situations or after I'm on set. I'm a really big overthinker, and my something I'm going to try to work on is to stop overthinking my conversations, stop overthinking things that happened in the past or like social situations. And so like I'll catch myself like, why did I say that? Or just rehashing the conversation in my mind, like the day after of, something I said on set or like anything that could have happened. And so I think I'm gonna try to stop that, Dan, because that's not
mm.
good. It's not
No,
good.
it's not. No, I get it. You say something, and then a couple of hours later, you're still thinking about the same thing you said before. And
Yeah, and
maybe
you're
you're
like,
like,
oh my God.
mm-hmm. And then perhaps you say something mean, and then you're like, yeah, I shouldn't have said that. Could have said this or that. Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah, I'm the same way. You are
And
preaching
it's
to the choir,
awful.
basically.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you beat yourself up, and then like those people, like they'll reach back out and your friends, and you're like, oh, I guess I didn't affect you that much. I guess it wasn't as bad as I let my mind blew it up to be.
Hmm.
And yeah, so that's still one thing I'm still trying to hash out with myself. It's like, hey, you know that grace thing that you give yourself for auditions? Maybe do that in social situations too. Like, don't be so hard on yourself, you know?
I like it.
Oh,
If you
make it
find if you're able to work that out, let me know so I can apply the
I
same
will.
thing because
I
I'm the
definitely
same
will.
the same way here, the same way, and it sometimes pisses. I mean, it kind of I'm like, here we go again.
Yeah,
Whenever
it is.
something's happened. So.
Dude, I'm the same way. It'll hit me, and I'm like, God, because you kind of become self-aware as you're doing it. And that's when you're like, stop, what are you doing? Like it was a fine situation. Don't make yourself anxious over it when it was good. Like nothing bad came out of it. And yet you kind of over rationalize it or make it like a world issue whenever it was really a good interaction. You're just overthinking it.
Yeah, totally. That's why I'm terrible at dating.
Oh yeah, I
You know what I mean? I'm like,
don't
I'm terrible at that. So I'm like, yeah, you know what?
yeah.
Not now. Just take it.
I will. When I
Take
find a
time.
secret sauce, I'm gonna let you know. Be like, hey, dude, this is the combination you need. You will not overthink anymore.
Totally. Please do because yeah. Mm.
No, I got
And
you.
yeah. And tell me, how do you recharge or find inspiration when you're feeling creatively drained?
I would say watching movies is kind of how I recharge, or writing, or just taking a break in general. A lot of times, if I get like blocked, say I have an audition I have to do, and for the life of me, I either can't focus on my script, or, ADHD starts kicking in and I'm pinging all over the place, or I'm just not motivated. I will truly just ignore it. I don't know if this is good or bad. So if there's a therapist out there listening, you get a hold of me and we'll talk. But I kind of just like stuff it down and ignore it and come back to it later, and I'll find a new inspiration in that. And so, I think that's a good thing people should probably try to work on too, or figure out if it works for them. Because I'd never done that before. I'm somebody that always tries to finish something, even if I'm in a shitty mood, or even if the quality isn't going to be as good as it would be if I was feeling great. Now I've had to like catch myself where I'll do a self tape one night, and for girls, like makeup, everything else, like I feel like guys can just kind of throw on their self tape and go for it, and girls, we do our hair. We have to make sure, okay, does our face look okay on camera sometimes? Or you could go natural, but it's all that stuff. But anyway, I'll do a whole like scene or audition, I'll get it done. And then I'll be like, Ashlee, man, I was in such a shitty mood. I can just tell watching this self tape, it's shitty. So I'm like, let's just wait and see if you want to do it again the next day. The next day I'll come around, I'll do it. It was great. And I've gotten like auditions after doing that where I've already pre-taped one time, went back and hated it and was like, I'm going to send them something better. I'm going to do great. I'm not going to settle for good. I'm going to do great. And those are the times where I've been like, oh, okay, let's go. So I'd say the biggest recharge for me would be time. It would be giving myself time to recharge and to focus on those other hobbies. Or my dogs, I've got two pups, so maybe take them out or give them a bath because they stink, or whatever it is.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get
So
it.
that's my
Hmm.
thing. And music. Music is always a huge help too. Like just blasting sad songs if you're sad or if you're unmotivated. Listen to some like really intense, like poppy beat type music, and then it's
Hmm.
like, okay, I feel that motivation now. Like, or
Totally.
even listening to the tone of a song, like if it matches the tone of the audition or something like that, or of the script that you have, that's always a good place to start too, because then that kind of just it connects your body to the plot and the script and to that character and what they're going through. So there's a couple different things you could do, but
Hmm.
that's mine.
Hmm.
Yeah.
With music, with music, like every now and then, if if some friends, if I'm with some friends or something like that, I know that I can't put my playlist because it has so many things. It has some very uplifting songs and has some very miserable songs and has I mean it's a whole other it's a world
Yeah,
basically.
you're
So
taking people on a journey for road trips,
so
basically.
then I'm like, yeah, probably just gonna hold that to myself for a bit, because might not make too much sense if I put on shuffle and then it's gonna be just putting songs out there randomly. I'm like, yeah, probably not.
Hey, you know what though? I would love to listen to music with you, Dan, because my playlist is the exact same way, and it goes from like different like decades of music too. Like I'll have some like 70s upbeat dancing music, and then I'll have some like Nirvana in there, and then I've got like everything just going down the list. It's
Totally,
crazy.
totally. Yeah, you will
Yeah.
have from Taylor Swift and then to Foo Fighters and then going back to Marvin Gaye and then
Yeah.
you will be circuit yeah, and then you will go to some rap, why not some Snoop Dogg, Eminem stuff, and then
You
you
get me,
know
man. It's a whole vibe.
Mhm.
It's like you take yourself on a journey and it's really fun. And every decade, like say you want to go on like a peppy pop kind of journey, every decade has something for you. So just kind of throw them in there, you know?
Totally, totally. The other day I was at the gym hitting at the weight, hearing Shake It Off by Taylor Swift.
Yeah. Dude,
You
that's
know, that's my jam. I was like, this is my jam, and it was funny because I was taking my headphones out for a bit, and then they were having some real cool bangers, but I was like, yeah, not right now. Just putting back
that's
my
hilarious.
stuff.
Mine, I had one gym song and it motivated me so much. And I am envious of those people, or I guess I don't understand the people that work out with heavy metal like in their headphones. I'm not one of those people because, and I realized that because the one song that motivated me so much was Daft Punk Around the World. Have you heard
Hmm.
that?
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
that song on repeat in my headphones. And it's just like this discotheque type of like beat. And I'm sitting there just like lifting weights to it, looking, trying to look, as mysterious and stuff at the gym as you can be. And yet
Mm,
I've got that playing in my ears. And I'm like,
mm.
this is so vanilla of me right now. Like, yeah, so it's a good time. Music
Yeah,
helps.
totally,
That's great.
totally.
Yeah.
The other day I was at a treadmill and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna try something different, and I put the soundtrack of the Lord of the Rings while I was on the
Yeah.
treadmill. It
Did it
was the
work?
most, yeah, it was the most epic experience ever.
Oh my God, you probably are like you're on the biggest journey of your life right now. Like
Totally, totally.
sitting
Because
down on the treadmill.
I will inclinate that thing up to 10, and then just, as I was taking like a hike, and at
Huh?
some point I was like, okay, I'm on my way to Mordor here. You know what I
I'm
mean?
on
I'm like,
my way to
I'm
Mordor.
I'm
You're like, I'm
gonna
on the attack. I'm gonna destroy this ring. Like,
totally Frodo, here I go. Okay.
yeah,
Just wait for me, dude. I'm coming.
that's amazing. That's what I need to try. I need to like do movie soundtracks and take myself on like a journey. I'll do an action movie and I'll just
Yeah.
be running on the treadmill. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've tried it every now and then, and it. Of course, that sometimes you will change songs. It is what it is. But in
Mhm.
general, you actually feel. I think like the most important thing, and especially like when you go, like going to the gym, for example, that perhaps
Mhm.
sometimes might be like a little bit, ugh, I don't want to go today, things like that. But when you get the chance to kind of disconnect your mind like a little bit and just let yourself go with the soundtrack you're putting it, when you realize it's been already an hour and a half and you're still rolling it and you're not feeling even tired of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, yeah. And tell me, what did 2024 teach you about resilience?
Oh, it taught me a lot about resilience. And that's only because I saw the fruition of all of my resilience kind of like come into play. I had, um, yeah, I started working with a business coach, like an entertainment acting business coach, Anastasia Edwards. She is amazing. So, anyone listening, if you're a newer actor or you're someone that is in acting in the entertainment industry and you're just wanting some guidance. Anastasia Edwards is amazing. She has helped me so much tenfold. But basically, we created this business plan of like, what are my tangible goals for the year? And how am I going to get there? Those kinds of things. And I've seen myself hit these goals and these goals that even she would tell me, hey, this takes a long time normally for this to happen. Say getting an agent in Atlanta, for example. Her and I were planning on it being months, and I'm talking like 6 months, 8 months. We were like, this is going to take a long time for me to get an agent down there because we were just leading with the worst thought, before we went positive with it because you just really never know. That's out of your control. And so I was like, all right, whatever. I already know it's going to take a long time. So I would submit down there, and within a week, I obtained my agent. And I was like, holy shit. Like, this was so fast that I just got an agent like that in Atlanta. And she's great. And she is very, like, the perfect agent for me to have in that area for sure. And so, like, I saw that come to fruition. And then a month later, getting pulled onto the biggest commercial I've had so far in my life. And that was validating because it was like, oh my God. So not only am I in this bigger market now, but also, these bigger production teams and casting directors are seeing me and they like me. And this is such a cool, like, journey and thing to be on. So and also not even just having that, but seeing my friends be able to overcome their situations and you know, um, their distractions and things that have like blocked them in their path and seeing them overcome it has motivated me to say, hey, I can do that too. Like this is great and we're all going through it. It's not just me. Whenever you make it a world problem or make it something it's not just me going through it, it makes
Mhm.
you feel a lot better and a whole hell of a lot more resilient because you're like, listen, if they made it through that, I know I can make it through it and I will. And you have to have that mindset of I will. Like, I'm going to get through this.
Totally. Yeah, it's important to release your problem, to realize that, to say how you feel, because you
Hmm.
never know. You might be encountering with someone who faced the same thing as you or something similar to it, and then, as you were saying, you are like, you know what, if they did it, I can do it too. Screw it.
Yes, exactly. And that goes back to like with what you were saying with your job, like you overcame it and you started your podcast and you started going on that journey. And like even for me to think of that while I'm going through my own, situation with layoffs and things like that, and to be like, you know what, Dan's doing it, and Dan is on this great path now because he picked himself up and just went for it. It's like, okay, me too. I'll do it too. And then you have like this support system too of people that have been through similar situations and can help you navigate. And I think that brick by brick builds resilience.
Totally.
And yeah, yeah.
Totally. And also, like, but like the whole community to it, I've said this before that, for example, like a few months ago when my father had like his heart attack, right? I was
Mhm.
amazed. And I even told that to my dad when he was in when he was at the hospital. I was
Yeah,
amazed that people from the community, I mean, people that I have interviewed, people that I haven't met in person yet,
yeah.
were being more supportive, you
Hmm.
know, that my actual friends.
Yeah.
I mean, from my
Oh,
actual friends who knew me since I was little, and I,
mhm.
I even told to my dad, like this is really either showing me something that it's so incredible that the fact that these people that I have speak with them once or twice probably,
Yeah.
that we haven't met in person yet, that we haven't got too much, yeah, too much in-person contact, let's say, right? I mean, we have none
Mhm.
basically. We live in different countries. They have been more supportive. They have sent a lot of more best wishes, like all of that, that my
Mhm.
actual local people here. But that make me wonder, like, okay, so I'm definitely on the right path, and it's so amazing the fact that the community can be so supportive somehow, and especially on delicate situations every now and then. I'm like, this is what it's all about, this is how things should be, the fact that we can get the chance to support each other regardless if we are whatever we are facing, but if we are able to support each other, I think that's how the thing should be.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I feel the same way because there will be times where, I'll have people that I've met only once or twice, and they are one of the, like, some of the closest people in my life. And I've only gotten to hang out with them, what, maybe 4 times in real life, like, not real life, but like in person, real life type
Hmm.
thing. And it's like those people mean the most to me. I mean, like, I genuinely love people that I've only spent like maybe 2 weeks with in person before. And Yeah, it's amazing. Like it's a really great community. And anytime I talk to people that aren't in the entertainment industry or don't get to talk with actors or musicians or whoever, I'm like, you guys really should. It's the most inclusive and loving and caring group of people that I have been around, and I'm very thankful for it.
Totally, totally. I was
Yeah.
afraid when I was starting out with this platform. I was a little bit afraid because I did have that image that the media showed me about actors, that they're cocky, they're capricious, they're all of that, and I
Which
was
some are,
like,
but some
it's
are.
true. Yeah, I mean, I have encountered some very bad people.
You're like
But
all the names and faces are popping in your head. You're like, well, yeah, maybe a little.
but as an actor once told me, just don't be a dick. I mean, I have met not very good, yeah, not very cool people along the way, but that's just part of the experience. But my point here is that when I started it, and then the more I was able to meet actors, musicians, and all of that, and with most of them, they were pretty cool, they were pretty open, and as I was saying, that it went into a point that my father had a heart attack, and they were supporting me. They were keep sending me messages like, "Hey, how is he doing? Do you?" I mean, I remember that some people even told me like, "Do you need something?" And I was like, "Are you for real?" You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
interesting. That really, at least to me, it showed me how cool the community is, and they are pretty open to everybody, even from someone like me who is not an actor, who is not pursuing acting at this point. We'll see, but
Hey, you never
but
know.
you never know, right? So it's cool when you get the chance to find a place to it, to feel that you belong, that you actually matter. Which I do think that is one thing that most people are looking for the whole life, to find a sense of belonging somehow. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. To feel like you're worth something, like somebody
Hmm.
cares about you. It's like, well, because we don't want to ask for it. We don't want to have to ask our friends or other people for sympathy or for all of these things. And for somebody who we barely know to feel the need to just reach out and do that, that's beautiful, man. It says a lot about their character and about, the industry too. A lot of people in the industry are really good people, and you're getting to meet a ton of amazing people. And I'm really glad I got to meet you too, because you're a lot like everyone else in the entertainment industry that's super kind and really welcoming. So
Yeah, same here. Same here.
thanks.
And that's the thing here, the other day I was thinking about, like, I can't believe that with this platform I've been able to meet a lot of more people that on person, let's say. But
Mhm.
here's the thing: I've been able to meet the right people. The people that I know that somehow they are able to plant something in me. I remember
Yeah.
when I hit my 30s, man. But anyway, when I hit my 30s, and then I was like, you know what? From this point, I just want people who can add something to my life. I'm done with fake people. I'm done with that. I spent most of my 20s meeting, having like this facade, like this mask, like this image, to pretending to be somebody else. And then I was like, no, you know what? From now on, I just want to meet people who are honest to it. I'm gonna be honest myself too, but at the same time, I want to meet people who can leave me something positive to it. And at least from doing these interviews, and that is what I keep saying. I mean, from every opportunity that I get the chance to speak with someone, somehow parts of them will stick to me.
Yeah.
Either their positive messages, how they manage to pursue a career or whatever. Because the fact that they are showing out there that everything is possible, and that is one of the cool things that I do think, that when you manage to surround yourself with the right people,
Hmm.
everything start to make more sense. At the same time, you feel that you actually matter. As I was saying before, you feel that you're on the right place, which I do think, as I was saying, the fact that perhaps we sometimes are so desperate to find ourselves in a place in which we can feel ourselves good, that we actually belong with them, like a community to
Yeah.
it. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you're spot on with your thinking with everything there. So yeah, it's
Mm,
incredible.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's a personal resolution you're setting for yourself outside of acting for 2025?
To continue learning. I am somebody that loves learning new skills. I like to challenge myself, and that also comes with like the resilience thing we talked about earlier. I love learning new skills and knowing that I might not be that great at first, but like the more you do it, the better you're going to get. And with that, I plan on reading a lot more self-help books. I love self-help books. I think that they're amazing. I like the little insights and tidbits I can get from them. And so my plan is to, again, start reading more books because I really did this past year. And also to start trying out different skills, things I've never thought to attempt before. Like I want to try to do that and make myself vulnerable in it as well and challenge myself.
Mm, okay,
Yeah. How about
I
you?
like it.
Thank
My
you.
my resolutions.
Mhm.
Oof. I have a few. I have a
I know.
few.
I just pulled the Uno reverse. I'm like, no,
Oh, I
you go.
love it. You
Let's
know,
hear it.
I love it. And I the other day I was having an interview, and then an actor, and then this actress was throwing me questions at me too. And then at the end was like, "Hey, is that okay?" And I was like, I loved it. You know, I love whenever they can throw me a question back at me. You know,
Yeah.
I love when they do that. It's like this is cool. To me, my main goal is one, well, my main goals. One of them is to be able to be more focused on this platform. Over the past, yeah, like this past 2024, I was not very focused before. My problem was that when I started this platform, I went like crazy, like super crazy. I mean, I was having 12 interviews daily from Monday to Sunday, not non-stopping, non-stopping, non-stopping. And
I
due
think
to
I
that,
remember telling you that. Yeah.
unfortunately, due to that, I was, I was burning out. You know, after
Yeah.
6 months, I was done. I was like, I can't do this anymore. This is not, because I was somehow not enjoying them as much, even though that I met some really cool people. But due to that, sometimes having 12 interviews daily,
Oh my God.
there will be times that the last two, I was just drained. You know, I was just like not even know what not even know what I was paying attention to or like things like that. And that
Mhm.
made me like a little bit sad because I was like, what, this could, because not gonna lie, with some actors I did lose connection to it. So I'm like, man. But at the same time, I was like, what, this is just part of the whole learning experience. So
It is.
my goal for this year is to be like more focused to it, to be more consistent. There will be times in which I will be uploading episodes daily, and then 2 weeks I'm not doing nothing, right? So try to be
Yeah.
like more focused to it, like more consistent to it, more,
Mhm.
yeah, try to release more stuff, like more new content, more, perhaps, I don't know, like one every 2 days, because we get to this idea like, no, you can upload like crazy 24/7 non-stopping. And I did try that, but
Yeah.
it because it takes time, you lose yourself the opportunity to try something different because you're focusing non-stopping on one thing only, right? So I'm like, let's just take a time,
Yeah.
because be consistent but enjoying it, so that would be one.
It's like you're making it more purposeful each time. Like
Totally.
there's more of a purpose and more of like a space for you to do the quality. So yeah, man, like go,
Totally.
you got this. Heck yeah.
Totally. So that's one, and
Huh?
the second thing is to go to other country. I've been planning to go to Canada, and
Yeah.
try to start over there, new life, new everything, new opportunities, because this is where the other version of Dan is coming. I do want to settle. I do want to settle. Find a good place, find a good partner, spend the rest of my life being with someone in which I can, appreciate, have fun, like all of that. I'm an old school on that on that way.
Mhm.
And I kind of want that, and just enjoy life more. As I was saying, my 20s were a whole roller coaster of emotions because I wasn't kind of paying attention to my real self. And when I hit
Mhm.
30, I was like, you know what, no, this is it. I think this is a chance for me to take things the other way around, and to actually pursue something that makes me happy, and to be honest
Yeah.
with myself, to show out there to the world who is the real Dan, let's say,
Huh?
and yeah, I think those are kind of the main two. And the other ones are the typical, what, lose more weight, go more time to the
Yeah.
gym, like the regular
Exactly.
stuff, let's say. But at least
See, and I
those
don't
two.
even say that anymore. I'm like, I've given up on saying I'm going to the gym because I know if I put it out there, it still may not even happen. So I just keep my mouth shut.
But at least those two things. I do have said this
Um,
a lot of times. I think that we come to this world for something, but it's up
yeah,
to us to discover what is that something. And once we discover it, you need to actually put the work to it. And
yeah,
if there's people out there who is pursuing what makes them happy, what drives them, I think everyone can, but unfortunately, due to the whole media and the whole craziness that the world is yeah, the whole craziness that is happening, we might sometimes forgot what we want to pursue in life, or we get consumed by these fake ideas or whatever, and we just lose ourselves. I have met friends that till this day we're not friends, kind of not anymore, and not because something bad happened, but because they just went crazy into this mentality of pursue the money, of being 100% an adult, in which I'm like, yeah, but don't be like that all the time. So
Yeah.
because you will lose yourself, you will lose yourself, and you will lose the opportunity to actually stop for a while and enjoy. As I was saying before, when we get the chance to stop just for a second, just stop, and then realize all the things you have done, all the things you have accomplished, where you are right now, you get the chance to enjoy life more. You know what I mean? To actually appreciate
Exactly.
that, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%. Take those moments to practice being grateful for things. And like there's I actually do want to start doing this. There's a thing that I know where like you wake up every morning or before you go to bed and you write down everything you're grateful for that day or just a few things that maybe one thing, a few that you were really grateful for that day. It could be super small, it could be big, but just something, to remind yourself like, hey, you might have felt like you didn't do anything today, but you did do that one thing. You did that and that's pretty great. You got that done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, focus yourself on goals, on little goals. I remember
Hmm.
that I tried to do the same thing over, like, okay, I'm just gonna do little things, so then eventually I can jump on to the big things. Because sometimes
Yeah.
I think we just focus on the end goal, right? To go big, go home, like, and all of that. And sure, you can do that, but at least, I think when you get the chance to learn more about who you really are, and you
Hmm.
understand each other, knowing your limits, you you start to do things your own way. And I think that's important, to discover yourself, so you can
Hmm.
be able to do things your way, because at the end it's your life. It's not somebody else's life. It's yours, who is living it, who is producing it, who is creating something. So take your time.
Yeah. No, and I think too, I was just talking about this like today and yesterday actually with I'm somebody who I have a lot of blind faith in, my reality and in my future and that kind of thing. But with blind faith, I've also laid the foundation. I put in the work. And that's the same thing with when people say luck. People do get lucky breaks, but you want to be prepared when those lucky breaks happen. You have to do the work and then opportunity comes and that's luck. It's like when luck and preparation or when opportunity and preparation come together, that's your luck right
There
there.
you go.
Like
Mm-hmm.
you can do anything you want, but don't wait for it. Work for it. You know what I mean? Like do what you got to do to put in the work, put in the hours and get your goals done and you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Mind
Mm-hmm.
over matter and really I say chase your goals. I'm such like a your passions, your dreams. I'm such a like go do that kind of thing type of person because happiness and being fulfilled in to me is one of the most important things in this life. If you're not happy and you're not feeling fulfilled, what's the point of living? What's the point if you're not doing something that you really want to do, that you don't feel like you can go on without doing, Why wait?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that is one of the lessons, that if at some point I will have kids, I would say, that go after what you want, but be aware that there's gonna be ups and downs. There's gonna
Yeah.
be moments in which you're gonna question yourself. There's gonna be rejections along the way. But hey, that's just part of the whole thing. I think that when you understand that is not personal. Everybody's different, and when you understand that everybody's different, and not everyone, and I mean, and nobody's gonna act the way you want to, you know,
Yeah.
just focus on what you can control, and then things might be making more sense. So
Yeah, no, exactly. Focus on what you can control, let go of what you can't, and just try to navigate the best you can because you're only
totally,
human. So, yeah.
totally, totally. And like, what motivates you? Do I know that in a previous episode we spoke about, what kind of motivates you here. But my question here is, the same thing that motivates you when you told me last time is the same thing that motivates you right now, or has changed like a little bit, or what's the thing here?
I think it's still pretty much the same on what motivates me. With just wanting to really entertain people and to bring a smile to people and having be having a platform and being able to just let somebody be able to connect with the characters that I play, like I said earlier, humans crave stories. We're storytellers innately, and it's something from the beginning of time that people have enjoyed and loved, and it does build connection and community. And I think that for me, that's huge. If I can have an impact on just one person, whether it be a character that they connect to or a story that I'm in that they can connect to, I was a part of that, and I can feel really good about it because whenever you're servicing others or helping others, it feels really good. It gives you this just very good feeling that like keep going, keep servicing, keep being that person for others. In my life, like that has motivated me, being that for other people. And I know what growing up watching different characters on TV or they might be going through something that I can relate to. And it might have saved me at that point in time, seeing that character go through that, or knowing that, oh, it's okay to think like this. Oh, it's okay to feel like that. Like, it's not just me that's going through that. Like, those moments are what I live for because it's just beautiful to be able to impact somebody like that and to make somebody feel something, you know?
Mm,
Yeah, that motivates me. It sounds
mm,
deep and corny, but like that stuff
it's
really
okay.
motivates me, you know? It's
I
like
know.
it's really beautiful and it's kind of just embracing life and embracing the faults in ourselves and in life and using that to your advantage, you know?
Mm, there you go. You know, in our previous chat, I said I discovered why you're super badass, but screw that. I'm rediscovering it. Why you're super badass. I get it.
Thank you, Dan. Man,
I'm reaffirming
I
that.
swear, man, I'm not going to be able to walk out the door. I promise you, my head's going to be too big.
Totally. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. And tell me, Christmas is coming, New Year is coming.
Yeah.
What are some of your usual plans for those dates? Like what is yeah, like what do you usually do on those?
Yeah, so I'm a very like traditional homey person. So I love those traditional holidays with family. I'm like, if we can all get together and just watch Christmas movies or do the whole cookie, making cookies and the gift giving and the big family meals, like I'm a sucker for all of that, man. I'm like, if my friends have those kinds of like get-togethers and stuff, I'm like, hey, where's my invite? Like I also want to hang out with your family and chill. And so yeah, those are normally my plans. I don't really go too extravagant. I'm more of a homebody kind of girl. I like my comforts in life and also
Hmm.
anymore. I mean, I'm showing my age. I'm 28 and my hangovers are terrible anymore. So I'm like I can't really go out and party like I used to for New Year's. So now I'm like just hang out, and
Hmm. Hmm.
enjoy the time that I have with my family and the time that I have with my friends while I have it because truly I've been so busy and even in December I've got a feature film I'll be filming in DC for about a week and that'll be before Christmas. So once I get back from DC, I'm really going to enjoy just hanging out and being with my family.
There you
So,
go. I like it.
mhm.
And tell me, when it's Christmas time, what is the usual Christmas films you watch?
Oh man, The Grinch. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. That's my number one. Jim Carrey cracks me up, and there's so many adult jokes in there you don't get until you're older, and then
Hmm.
you're
Hmm.
like, oh my God, that's what that meant. Like, oh, that dirty dog, like he knew. And Elf is another good one, and Christmas Vacation. Those are probably like
Mm.
my top three.
Hmm.
How about you?
Hmm.
What do you normally watch around Christmas time?
So when it's Christmas, I watch of course like the usual, the usual Christmas stuff. But there's
Yeah.
one film that I have realized that when I bring it to the table, it might be a little bit controversial. So here it is. The number one film I watch in Christmas is
Uh-huh.
Die Hard.
I knew you were gonna say Die Hard.
That's
Hey,
my one. That's my Christmas films. And those who think that
yeah.
it's not a Christmas films, I'll be happy to have a conversation with that, because it is a Christmas film. So that I
Yeah.
usually do that. So I will watch that film just once, and then
Uh-huh.
I'll be waiting for next Christmas to watch it again. It's like
Yeah.
my thing.
Save
I
on the
start.
shelf. Yeah.
Yeah, I started to incorporate that the past, I don't know, like 8 years now, so it's already
No,
kind of my tradition, to
yeah.
watch Die Hard because it is a Christmas film.
Oh, I
Um,
disagree. It actually, in my opinion as well, I feel like it is a Christmas film. It's
Thank
got
you.
a Christmas theme throughout it, so it's like it has to be a Christmas film. It's taking place during Christmas. Like,
Totally,
no,
totally.
it's not. Yeah, I totally get
And,
it.
and besides that, yeah, just having fun with family. Yeah, just either my whole family. I mean, there was a time, of course, that we will gather the whole gang, my uncles, like all of that, and we would have like these huge celebrations. Those were good, but life happens. Some are still out there, some are not. Yeah, some passed a few years back. Everybody's like their own thing now, so we just kind of yeah, just with my family, have a dinner, have a good time, open up the gifts, have fun, and that's it. For New Year, the same thing. I mean, there was a time, of course, in which I was going party and go to the clubs and like all of that. But
Yep.
I mean, I'm happy to say that I did all of that. I mean, I did have fun, went to nightclubs,
Yeah.
spent the whole evening drunk as hell, laughing, screaming,
Yep.
like all of those things. And right now I'm just more kind of calm to it. Of
Mhm.
course that, I'm still saying that I'm saving myself for four more parties. So I'm kind of
Yeah.
more so I've been like more selective to it.
You
I'm
have
super
four more in the
selective.
tank, huh?
I
You're
have
like,
I have
I'm
yeah.
pacing.
I have four more now in which I'm like I can handle it because
Yeah.
yeah, the last time I did went to part yeah, I went to the party. I was hangover for almost 3 days. I was like, nope.
Awful. Is it not though? Like, I
Yeah.
remember early 20s, I would party hardy. Like, I was partying hard and I was still hungover, but not for like 2 days, 3 days in a row. And anymore, it's like,
Mm-mm. No.
4 beers. And I'm like, oh my God, like,
Totally.
kill
Totally.
me. This is
Yeah.
awful.
And then
Yeah.
if the next day you have to go to work, I did one time,
Oh,
and then I went to work super hangover. I remember that I went to a store, bought a lot of Gatorades, and I I mean I did bought like a lot of stuff, and I was at my desk just eating and drinking and just trying
yeah.
to survive barely. And then I was like, you
Yeah,
know
you're
what, this is not
just
cool
trying to get
anymore.
your body to like not shut down on you is the whole purpose of the next day on a hangover.
Totally,
Like,
totally. So I'm like more reserved to parties. I'm like I'm more selective now.
yeah.
But yeah, so it's basically just a family time, eat a lot,
No,
have fun, and that's it.
heck yeah, man. I love it. That's hey, it's what it's all about. I don't think we get enough time in this life to be able to see our family and friends enough anyways as it is, like especially with working and schedules. So any time like that is really cool. You get to catch
Totally,
up.
totally. I
Yeah.
like it. And my last question, and I think you know which question it is,
Huh.
but here it goes. What do you think that could be the best title
I knew it.
for this episode?
Um, okay. Let's say, what's some things that we have covered? Because it's every time. I should have known. I was
Jesus.
thinking about it. You go back and think, Dan, what did we cover in this? I would say, um, what's a, I need you to brainstorm with me. This is, um, family fun, mental health with Dan and Ash.
The
Or is that
previous episode, what was it called? Let me check
shut up
the
and listen, Dan and Ash?
I think the previous episode was called. Let me check it here real quick.
I think it was
So,
shut up and listen.
I think. Wait, where is it? Where? I'm looking. I'm searching for it. Uh, yeah, the first one was "Shut Up and Listen to Ash and Dan." That was the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the
I
first one.
love that
Yep,
one.
yep.
Um, hmm.
Perhaps this one can be called.
Are you
Hmm,
listening? With Action Dan.
wait,
Like, you have to listen. Are
are
you?
you sure you're listening?
Yeah, are you sure
That
you're
could be
listening?
one. Hmm. Yeah.
Oh, we talked a lot about resilience and we've talked a lot about following your path, resilience. So maybe like 2020, something like resilience is key, or feeling what I'm
What
putting down?
what about what
My brain,
about huh?
I said my brain's not working, Dan. It's not wanting to work.
What about bitch don't kill my vibe?
Oh, I like that. You always come up with these names that make me seem sassy, and I'm really not sassy, so I kind of like it. People are gonna open it and be like, "Oh, bitch, don't kill my vibe," and then they're
Bitch
gonna be,
don't kill my vibe.
yeah, they're gonna be like, "Who is this marshmallow of a girl talking to me right now? Like, what the heck?
Hmm.
Bitch, don't kill
Yeah.
my vibe." Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Or I think yeah, that one could be.
yeah.
Or mm, mm, damn. I mean I'm thinking something to add with Ash and Dan.
Hmm.
Mm,
Uh, keep, keep striding along with Ash and Dan, or um, don't stop believing with Ash and Dan.
Dan. Um keep no. Um keep listening. No, no, no. Keep listening. No. Um
Oh man. I think Are You Listening with Ash and Dan.
Yeah, I
Uh,
like that one. I
Are
think
You
that's a
Listening?
winner. Yeah, I think that's a winner. Yeah, are you listening? Yeah. Yeah, I think yeah. Screw it.
Listening?
Yep. That's the title. That's the
Let's
title.
do it. Let's go with it. I think it's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean at the end what can I say, It's epic. I love the fact that you're pursuing what makes you happy, that you are rocking out there. One of the things that I do love is to see people that I've interviewed in the past see that they are yeah, that they're pursuing it, that they are making things happen. I mean that at least to me that is super inspirational, and it shows me out there that hey, if they're pursuing it, I can do it too, and it's amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I can say right back at you. Like to see all of like your accomplishments, and I constantly see, people popping up who you're interviewing, and no, it's really cool. I appreciate that. And I think like you and I feel like share a lot of like-mindedness when it comes to mental health and, thoughts on connection with people and how important it is to have the right group around you and all that good stuff. So yeah, every time we chat, Dan, I always get I always go through my day with a little bit of a pep in my step because I'm like, he gets it. He's got a good attitude and he understands it.
I like it. Yeah, yeah. It's like having a conversation with my best friend.
Exactly. Yes. And there's
Mm-hmm.
no judgment. It's like, oh, I can see where you're coming from there. Okay, that's good,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's all good.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. I do want to thank also those who stayed the whole episode. Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you agree, great. If you're not, well, too bad.
Are
But
you listening?
yeah,
Yeah.
you listen it. If not, rewatch it or re-listen it
Yeah.
again.
You
And
didn't
let us
pick
know.
something up the first time if you don't like
Probably.
it.
But in the description below, you're gonna find all of Ashlee's social media. As I said, by this point, you should know why she's super badass. I mean, she indeed is the super badass. So make sure you make sure to follow her, and also let's share some love. Let's keep with the hashtag Team Ashlee. And again, thank you for making this happen. Have an incredible upcoming Christmas, an incredible upcoming New Year. Keep shining because that's your thing. And I'll be seeing you in the next one.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate you. And thank you to everyone else. I appreciate you guys for taking the time to listen to me chat with Dan.
All right.